Here in this section, 100 years of solitude, we will see that for the development of every section of the village Makonda increased. That means economic development, social development, not in the truest sense of term, economic development, especially for the train road, for the cinema, for the other industry. Especially one thing should be noted, that is established by the American company, that is the banana company. So the commerce developed of the village Macondo, but gradually the forerunner of the Macondo village, the Buendia family, gradually declines. And the towns moving in its own way, Buendia's family couldn't hold the track of the development ways of the town. So once again, living in a very developed city, Macondo city, it has become a city, and so cosmopolitan city, that whenever establishing the train line, it needs to traffic to control the congestion of the road. That means it has become a very cosmopolitan, busy city. Still, in this city, Macondo's founder, the Buendia family, feels in isolation. Previously, when the village living in Rahuhacha, there was a one type of isolation. Then moving towards Macondo village, there is another type of isolation. But at the apex of the economic development, Buendia family still is in isolation. There are some reasons that is the male leader of Buendia family, that is Ursula, loses her eyesight, and she becomes more uncanny. That means she sees apparition and other nonsense thing through his vision. And however, she had a dream that the Arcadio 5 is sent to Rome because she wanted her to make him a pope, and for this reason, Jose Arcadio V was sent to Rome. So still in Ursula, in her motive, there was a positive sense that one day the Jose Arcadio V will be returning from Rome and take the church of the papal authority, the church authority of Macondo village. Though the scenario is that the Buendia family is in decline, that means the economic, they are isolated in Macondo villages. Among the two brothers, one, Aureliano Segundo, moves with Catra courts. A decadent materialist pervades the rest of the town. Perhaps it is best symbolized in the eating contest between Aureliano Segundo and the bestial director of a school of boys, the woman called Camila Sebastian, the elephant. There is an eating competition, and the eating competition was conducted between a women counterpart and one of Buendia chief, that is Aureliano Segundo. It symbolically presents that the city now moves towards materialism, was where no sense of morality, nothing is there. Actually, the competition of getting material gain pervades all through the family and social aspects of Makata village. Economy engulfs the village Makanto with its notion of materialism. Sugandha is in a position that he shouldn't lose the competition because such kind of competition was occurring between women and men. And for this reason, a man should lose or man will lose the competition. It cannot be perceived by the Pakandia villagers. Especially, it made it possible that uh, a man cannot be defeated by a woman. And that is also called the mesochism. That means to show the strength of a male in a society, Makanda. However, naturally, uh, we see that uh, Aureliano loses the fight. And Fernanda sends Mame away. The eating contest serves as a parody of the message more and also as an example of supreme irony, since in an effort not to lose a contest to a woman, Aureliano almost kills himself by overeating and loses the contest. So this is the symbolical presentation of Makando village. Another female character, Fernanda, sends Mame away, trying to conceal Aureliano's affair with Petracus from Mame. Another two characters, Petracus, we also know him already. But this only increases Fernanda's moral discomfort rather than lessen her sense of shame or uh, loss. She succumbs to hysterical self-deception and a singing rage that lasts for 2 days. Solitude so pervades the life of the colonel that at this point that he dies. His forehead pulls in between his shoulders like a baby chick, leaning against the chestnut tree, and harbored old Jose Arcadio the First, the colonel's father. Fernanda, like the colonel, is an alienated creature. She suffers the humiliation of infidelity while the colonel collapses from the futility of making and melting down goldfish. So there is a comparison between two other characters, Fernanda and Colonel. So Fernanda is also a devastated women character as well as the Colonel. We see that he had uh, multiple relation with multiple women. So colonial death is typical of the novel's alternative rhythms and moods. But it's a matter of farce, the way colonel died. Here, Mammy returns from the boarding school, accompanied by 4 nuns and her entire class of 68 girls. So the Ursula sent uh, her to be a pope. So returns with uh, the 4 nuns and the entire class of 68 girls. Ursula sent her to study papalness. The Buendia household is thrown into chaos. Fernanda has to order 72 chamber pots to alleviate the nocturnal congestion in the bathroom. So, how many guests were there? Entire class of 68 and 4 nuns. That means 72. And Ursula ordered 72 chamber pots to do the nocturnal congestion. That means how they will be using one toilets or two toilets or three toilets or four toilets. There are 72 guests, and for this reason they hired 72 chamber pots so that they can do their uh, defecation and urination in their room. So this is also a hyperbolic presentation that author uh, Gabriel Garcia Marquez has presented. And there is another example. When Armanta is salting the soup, one of the nuns asks Armanta what ingredient she is adding to the soup, and she receives the reply, arsenic. So also the Buendia family was in an awkward situation of having so many guests at a time by Ursula's granddaughter. After graduating from the convent, Mame's education continues to the streets of Macondo, where contrary to his prejudice, she befriended she she befriends Patricia Brown, the Yankee daughter of a banana company owner. So after graduating from the Mammy, start doing her religious activity towards the village of Macondo. But the people are not interested to the gospel or the information uh, presented by Mames. The every people started hating Mame. However, Mame got one friend, that is the Yankee. Uh, she befriends Patricia Brown, another liberal Yankee daughter of a banana company owner. Patricia Brown opens to Mame a world close to many Latin American women. So here, Patricia Brown is very much liberal, and he opened a new way towards the women. That means women can do such kind of activity in Latin American culture. Meme is not accepted by the village, by the people of Macondo village. However, she is accepted by the banana company owner's daughter, that is the Patricia Brown. So that liberal attitude of Yankee also helped the development of women in every um, sectors of society, including the papal activities, including the Pope's activities. Marcus makes the Anglo girl symbolize the independent, assertive, and cosmopolitan, especially her attitude towards men. So this Patricia Brown has been praised highly by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, and he said that this girl is not a citizen of America. She has become a world citizen. When a person becomes very much assertive, very much positive to every culture, in every culture there are some positives and there are some negatives attitude as well, but some people like the positive sides of every culture. That is called um, uh, that is called assimilation. That means Patricia Brown is like a character who congratulates and who likes all character, and for this reason Gabriel Garcia Marquez explain Patricia Brown as a cosmopolitan person. her attitude towards other people. Mame takes up three modern feminist and Protestant values. She uh, throws discretion and class prejudice to the wind, begins an affair with a mechanic Mauricio Babylonia. Okay, so here Mame represent the development attitude of women perspectives towards Latin American culture and literature. Before Mame, most probably we didn't find any character performing in as a paper attitudes, and not only that, uh, uh, women will be very much subservient to the social and other attitudes. Naturally, they will admit the social customs without any revolt. But Mammy, she is very much rebellious. She is very much modern, and at the same time, she is very much feministic in her attitude. So through this three combinations of three characteristics attitude, Mammy represent the developments of women's attitude by in the Macando village or in Latin American culture and social life as well. And uh, she starts making relation with a mechanic, Mauricio Babylonia. And uh, again, such kind of relation between a Pope of Buendia family to a mechanic indicates some ominous sign to Buendia family. So from the very beginning to the end, we see the Buendia family is entangled with so many isolation. And previously, we have understood that they were afraid for the cause of incestual physical relationship. And such kind of relationship put them in the world of isolation and put up in the world of fear. And they left the village Roihacha, and then they came to this village Macondo. But here we see that Mame didn't make relationship, incestuous relationship. Rather, she made a relationship with people of low rank of the society. Even such kind of relation, actually, this is a relation without a marriage bond, and such kind of illegal physical relationship indicates that Buendia's family will suffer a lot. So previously they had incestual physical relation. Here they had physical relation with marriage. That is the relation between Mammy and Lisa. Mauricio Babylonia indicates some negative sides of Buendia family once again. Tragedy is opened, saved from the gross sentimentality by the author's fortune, profound humor, when it seems that aging Armanta, when it's when it seems that the aging Amaranta will never die, and she is visited by death and told being, here Armanta, another important character of this novel. Here, she is visited by death and told to begin her shroud. Shroud means the cloth that will be used to cover the dead body. So death visited Amaranta and orders to prepare her own shroud. And until and unless she will not complete the shroud, she will not die. And the death also declared to Amaranta that make it as complex as you can and make it as colorful as you can, because as long as you will not be finishing this shroud for your dead body, you will not die. So there is a reminiscent of Penelope of Odyssey. That in the Odyssey, Penelope was getting a trick that she will be making a shroud for his father-in-law. And until and unless she will be completing the shroud, the suitors will not get her opinion about her marriage to them. So such kind of attitude we see here in case of Amarantha. She finishes the shout, then announces that she is sailing Abdus, carrying the mail of death. Such black humor seems to crop up in the unlikeliness places. Another example, a guard shoots Mauricio baby Leona trying to climb through the tiles and get into the Meme's bathroom. Another is happened over there that we have learned that Meme showed more modernistic and feministic attitude by having relationship with baby Leona. So one day, this man was trying to get into Mame's room through the bathroom. And at that time, a guard shoot baby Leona, and he was actually um, um, the bullet got hit to the upper portion of his body and up to the waist. He has been paralyzed, and he dies of old age in solitude, ostracized as a kitchen thief. So this incident that Babylona was trying to enter into Meme's room through the bathroom window, and he was shot by a guard. And this incident was described that actually he was trying to steal the chicken from Meme's room, and having such kind of evaluation and negative approval of the society, he died out of old age. So the modern women, Meme, showed her forwardness, that is avant-garde movement in her attitude by having relation of baby Leona. So baby Leona also supported such kind of modernist and feministic attitude by having relation with Meme. So that heroic person, Babylona, had such kind of pathetic day. What does it mean? That means some women at the time tried to get modern thinking in their society, but they were subservient, they were suppressed by the male-dominated society. So the Babylonia's death is an indicator, it's an indication that the women like Mame shouldn't be so much avant-garde partner or so much a vehicle of avant-garde movement or modernist movement by having extramarital relationship. So that is symbolically represented. Nor apparent stratagem eludes the author's satirical version of the classical love trust. Humor and hyperbole lends dramatic emphasis to commonplace events, and the ambiguous tragicomic effect is further enhanced by oxymoron phrases. So this is about the Gabriel Garcia Marquez's presentation. So hyperbole, humor, black humor, satire, irony, symbolism. So such kind of technique is very much able to present his motive of the society. In her affair with Mauricio Babylona, for instance, Mame is protected by the innocent complicity of her father, Aureliano II. So Aureliano II is Mame's father. Sorry, it's a decline. Mame's father is Aureliano II. This buffoonery is also sharpened in description of sexual passion. A frigid Fernanda rears little Armanda Ursula, while corresponding with invisible doctors and carrying uh, passerage in her petticoats for her sexual and acts. So another relation we see that between Fernanda and Amaranta Ursula. So we see such kind of attitude, relation between male and female in that society. In characteristics, when their fashion, Mame's affair with Mauricio Babylona leads to a child. In addition, infection of Yankee progress, infection, the infection of Yankee progress has brought with its strong sense of bourgeois scandal and shame. Actually, the middle class people, they are the middle class business people are called the bourgeois class of the society. And this society, after getting so much property, they might have some belief or notion of shame. So this Yankee progress of Makando village actually gave them the Makando society economic developments, but their mental and social development was not happening. So they might present the bourgeois scandal and shame they might exhibit. So if I make the idea clear, they got money, but their mentality was not developed. So still they were in the bourgeois mental class. And for this reason, Babylonia's relation with Meme and Fernanda's relation with Amaranta Suganta was not accepted in that society. Fernanda takes the pregnant Meme off to a convent of Krakow. So Meme became pregnant with for her relation with Babylonia. So she is taken to a convent. After a boy is born, the nun in Krakow returns him to the Buendia house. So Meme gave birth a child, and that baby was sent to Buendia house. Fernanda is of course furious. The reader might now expect that Fernanda's intention to conceal the child's origin would stop here. But Garcia Marquez imbues his characters with a manic, disarming pride. Lies and rationalization serves to make their predicament only more entertaining. And Fernanda tells Santa Sofia de la Piedad that the boy was found in a basket floating among the bulrushes. This outlandish lie is expropriated from the biblical story of the discovery of the Moses, but Santa Sofia accepted without reservation. So Santa Sofia accepts the boy of Meme. The major action now centers around the strike at the birth. So that is the end of the up to the chapter 15. So in the chapter 15, the more interesting or the most important part of the novel that occurs, that the banana company workers asked a strike, and they are the dissatisfied workers protest against the owner of the banana company, and they are true to South American condition. The workers are revolutionaries as well as disgruntled cogs within the system. Okay, so actually the American in South America, true to the South American condition, naturally the workers actually they had not been treated with honest. Always the workers had been treated by as the revolutionaries. They will revolt towards the owner every time. And this revolution by the banana workers were led by two uh, person, that is Aureliano Segundo and Colonel Lorenzo Galiva. These two persons. So Aureliano Buendia family member. In other works of fiction, this situation might be labeled socio-protest drama, but the situation here achieves. But here we see that the socio-protest drama, but the situation here achieves tremendous narrative force and symbolism in the language of Gabriel Garcia Marquez. So when the banana workers protested against the owner, actually Gabriel Garcia Marquez presented the scenario in the truest sense of term, what happened actually. And the South African view, he has tested that actually the South American owner, they had an attitude that the workers are always will be revolting against the owner. So their attitude is like that, but they are not important for the company. However, it should be perceived that workers are the chief or the important member to run a company. But the South American owner didn't think that the worker are very much important. Gabriel Garcia Marquez has presented that scenario is very clearly in the true sense of term. So this strike massacres are recalled through the memory of a child. In the language of the child narrator, humor, fantasy, and parody underline the horrors of Yankee exploitation. So the American imperialism established the banana company. So when banana company workers revolted against the authority, so there was a tremendous massacre and killing, and indiscriminate killing is called massacre that was done towards the workers. So that situation was described by Gabriel Garcia Marquez with the child fantasy or the memory. Actually, the worker had been trying to uh, show their demand, and their demand is very much true. However, they were not getting any wages. Actually, after working, the worker would get one kind of slip written by the company administrators, and that kind of slip should be given to get ham, one kind of food, that means salted or smoked meat. And that ham, naturally you have heard the name of hamburger. So ham is the salted or smoked meat from the upper part of the pig's leg. And also pork is the pig's meat. However, pork is roasted and it is presented and served in a different shape. So the worker would not get any dollar, would not get any pound. However, the worker would get a slip in a paper given by the administrator of the company, and that slip will be exchangeable to the company's authority. The company's authority, with the exchange of this slip, they will be giving some ham. And also the first thing, they were protesting, there are no health benefits for the worker. All illness or injuries are treated with copper sulfate pills that are town children collected the bingo games. And the company at first responds the striker demands with humiliating concession, and the responsive trivialize the protest objectives. Latrine. Actually, so many workers had been working there. Latrine number was less. So latent, for instance, are one of the demands of the, previously we have learned that the health insurance and others. The company agrees to issue them, but only at the Christmas time. So the company agrees that, okay, there will be the plenty of toilets facilities will be there, but not at the time of only Christmas. That means 1 week or 2 weeks at the Christmas holiday or Christmas time. In the whole year, there actually the basic physical demands, that is latrines, health, were uh, overlooked by the South American company owners, and that is put as an example by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, that put the position of owner and the worker of economic development, especially in the 21st century. Finally, the factory owner disappears under the protest, and under a forced death certificate, the court determined that the workers are really self-employed and thus do not, as it were, exist. So naturally, most probably you may hear the story of bankrupt. If a company becomes bankrupt, so the employer will not get benefit anymore because the company is not able to pay the salary or everything else. But here we see a peculiar count of bankruptcy. But it is one day, abruptly, with the forced death certificate of the owner, it is declared that the owner of the company has died. And from this day onwards, the people, the worker had been working over there, they become jobless. So peculiar the solution was that. And in all this irony and fraud, there is pain so exaggerated that it almost loses any power to effect the reader's commiserations. Still, the effect of the massacre is brutal. The narrative is rendered in a language brilliant with metaphors and strong rhythms. Jose Arcadio IV Segundo regains consciousness after being struck down during the massacres. So what happened for the workers' revolt? The people, company men, shoot indiscriminately towards the worker. And who are the leader? That is Aureliano, that is Jose Arcadio IV, and another man. So Jose Arcadio IV accidentally was not hit by the bullet. He got consciousness after getting stuck down during the massacre. And when he get up from his senselessness position, then he finds himself lying amid thousands of crops on a 200-car train. So 200-car train were occupied and piled by the dead bodies. That means these are the dead bodies of the worker who were shot by the company owner. And that is a tremendous massacre was there. And Jose Arcadio IV, one of the leaders, he accidentally get rid of that attack. So he got consciousness and he found that so many dead bodies are surrounding around and they are piled up in 200 trains. Yet, when he returns to Macondo, he is assured by everyone that nothing has happened. So when Jose Arcadio IV returned to Macondo and wanted to communicate with the people that such kind of massacre had been happening, people are very much normal. They think that, oh, nothing had happened. It is incredulous and retires to the gypsies' Melquiades room. So Melquiades, most probably you can remember the name. These are the very gypsy who came Macondo village and show a Sanskrit manuscript that the last Buendia family member will be gate the mystery of this manuscript. That is the mystery about the future and the fortune of Buendia family. So Jose Arcadio IV, he is mistrusted by the people of Makando and went to that gypsy's room, that is Melquiades' room. Traumatized and terrified, he reads Malquedes' manuscript and eventually loses his mind. So next time he reads Macandus and he sees the massacre finally as a kind of surrealistic dream. It means that Melquiades, a gypsy, he who himself, naturally people at that time would believe in gypsy's knowledge, scientific as well as the other knowledge, because gypsy became the wandering newspaper or wandering scientific magazine to the village of Makando. So all the scientific information and all the modern and the upcoming and up-to-date knowledge the people of Makando had been getting through these gypsies. And this is one of the gypsies that Malquiades, he brought such kind of fortune to the Makando village. So this Malquiades himself said and wrote a manuscript that is, it is a surrealistic dream. So actually the massacre was not happened. So all people, the scenario, description, everything can be changes, that the false thing, a true thing becomes false when so many people started talking that such kind of massacre was not real. It was a massacre in dream. A panic became a dragon trail swirling about a gigantic whirlwind, and little by little was being reduced, cut off all around like an onion, being peeled by the insatiable and methodical shears of the machine gun. So naturally, the information of massacre was suppressed in a way that the onion has been peeled. Arcadius' function from then on is to pass knowledge of the manuscript to young Aureliano Babyliona. So Aureliano Babyliona is the last young representative of Buendia family. So Malquiades, from Malquiades, Jose Arcadio the Fourth got the manuscript and pass it to the Jose Arcadio the Fifth to get the result, to get the decoded information of this manuscript. So Babyliano to young Aureliano, young Aureliano Babyliona. That means the son of Mame and Babyliona. So Jose Arcadio the First was frustrated for this. After the massacre, he was frustrated. Now he wanted to pass the information towards his the fifth or the last young representative of Buendia family, who is supposed to get the mystery of the message served and delivered and brought by Malquiades. That means Jose Arcadio the Fourth tried to get positive result for the workers, but being a leader as well as the other leader and thousands of people were killed by the South American leader. So at the end of the 15th, so the situation of the novel go to the apex of the climax. And in such a situation, after chapter 16 to 20, we see the denouement, naturally the incidents, the getting information, the what happened to the all characters in this novel, that will be done in this fourth section of 5 sections, 16 to 20. So in retaliation for the threatening workers strike, Mr. Brown, we are told, unleashed a torrential rain that lasts for 4 years, 11 months, and 2 days. Okay, so Uh, Actually, uh, in case of Mr. Brown, another pope, uh, for the threatening workers strike, Mr. Brown, we are told, unleashed a torrential rain that lasts for 4 years, 11 months, and 2 days, consequent times raining and rain. And that was a protest done by Mr. Brown. In addition, the duration of the storm makes the Yankees single-minded, irrational, and vengeful. So here, even the Yankee, the American imperialist, oh, they become the rain fills the lustful glutton Aureliano Shigondo with the spongy serenity of a lack of appetite. So in these 5 chapters, naturally we'll see the conclusion of every characters and the conclusion of every incident and the result and depth of every character in this 5 section. To all intents and purposes, the town and its inhabitants are peering over the precipice of uncertainty. So after the rain, actually the American imperial power, they were also frustrated, and the people of Makando, they are passing a time in a very uncertain period of time, what they are getting next time. When the rain stops, Makando is in ruins. Ursula slips into the complete solitude, but by now she is merely a playing for the little Amaranta Ursula and Oriolana Babylona. So these great children, they play with Ursula. Ursula can't see with this. The matriarch begins to live in a distant past beyond senility, an absurd creature for whom existence lacks all meaning. So Ursula, she has become so old, and she has a worthless women member of the society and a family. And actually, the Ursula was the founder of this Makando village. However, such kind of important women character is treated very negatively in a society. In society, that means the society has been materially developed, and that is done by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. That is, in section 16 begins the novel's denouement. Jose Arquidio IV returns from Rome, defrocked and in disgrace. Ursula dies of old age, and her life has been a tribute to endurance and injustice. So Ursula, however, has been praised by, at least by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. But at her death, she is caricature of her former self, shriveled up like a raisin. The hyper maniacal and the prideful prudish Fernanda develops voodoo powers. So Fernanda got a magic power. Her jealousy fits murderous intention. Formerly, she could tolerate Aureliano's sexual infidelity, but now his lust has turned to love with Petra Potts. For the betrayal, she tries to kill him by sinking pins in his photographs. She is successful, but just before he dies, Aureliano sends Armanda Ursula off to school in Brussels. So Belgium's Brussels, she sent this. So begin another serial possibility of the character of Armanda Ursula. Aureliano's death Aurelianus' death by Bodo, however, does not indicate the ferocious homicidal passion directed at him. The brutality of his death is indicated only when Santa Sofia cuts the throat of his corpse. He is symbolically butchered. Here, we should recall that Marquez is well known for his fear of choosing the dramatic moment to conclude the plot. Thus, as we recall, the fate of the twins is tied. So when Aureliano dies, his brother Jose Arquito falls dead in Melquiades' room. They both fall victim to the ravages of time. So here, Gabriel Garcia Marquez has selected the dramatic ending. That means denouement. That means unnoting of the mystery is a characteristics naturally we find in drama. So that attitude is followed by Gabriel Garcia Marquez here. That what happened to the other character. The pace of the narrative quickens. Rebecca dies, and the circle of the character tightens, thus concentrating now on the focus of action. There are many harbingers of the dire things to come. So Rebecca also dies. All the characters, Jose Arcadio the fourth died, Ursula died, and naturally some monstrous things are indicating to the villagers Makando. So many see the wandering Jew, a monster like a wandering Jew. Some has perceived that indeed a winged monster is caught and killed one night. So the winged monster, the wandering Jew, these are the indication that the next days of Makando are not very good. The days uh, that will come ahead will not bring any positive thing to village Makando. The priest loses his mind. He is replaced by the Father Angel after a tongue-in-cheek account of celibacy, tendency to induce sexual harassment. Luminous orange dishes pass through the sky. So Browning from his novella Livingstone at this point, Garcia Marquez offers the phenomenon to the birds again, this time bursting through windows during the midday heat and dying inside houses. Already we have mentioned in one portion that Gabriel Garcia Marquez has compiled or has collected many of his previous novellas stories to 100 Years of Solitude. And not only his own story, he also borrowed characters' names and other stories from other characters and other novels. So here such kind of incidents that is taken from the leaf storm. And that storm is that the birds at night, they are trying to break the window for the cause of excessive heat, and they enters into the house and they die there. That means the birds. That is the indication. And also another indication that luminous orange dishes pass through the sky. Orange color dishes passes and flies in the sky. And it is as though we are about to witness an earthquake. Such bizarre occurrence gives a magic aura to the town's decline and portends the novel's ominous conclusion. So such incidents, bizarre incidents, indicate that the novel will be concluded not in a happy ending, will be a very negative ending. Aureliana Babyloniano takes up the study of the Gypsies manuscript again. So Aureliano Babyloniana, that means Mame and Babyloniana's son, in the last male member of Buendia family, who is supposed to get the mystery of the Buendia family's future and the village also, the future of Makando village. And this is written in Sanskrit, and anybody can't decode the Sanskrit manuscript. So Aureliana Babyloniana takes up the study of the Gypsies manuscript again. In this task, he fulfills the logical expectation generated at the beginning of the novel. Jose Arcadio IV, whom Ursula had hoped to become a pope, at first scorns him and restricts him to the study. But this harsh sentence only makes Aureliano transcend the needs of the physical existence, and his isolation compels him to embrace the intensity of his solitary struggle to unravel the mysterious Sanskrit code. So he has to, that means Aureliano Babyloniana has to decode the mystery of this Sanskrit manuscript, because for the betterment of Buendia family and for the future and the future of Makando villagers as well. So they moves on. Another plot coil is unraveled when the last of the colonel's 17 bastard sons emerged. So colonels had 17 bastard sons, 16 were crucified, and the 17 emerged. And the 17, in the same way, uh, he was shoot before the gate of Buendia family. So illegal or incestual physical relationship is not supported by the society, and such kind of illegal relationship, marriage, extramarital relationship cannot be supported at the time in the village. So that is an indication that 17 of Colonel's bastard child has been crucified, has been killed very severely. The relationship between Jose Arcadio IV and Aureliano remains cool until Aureliano adds Jose Arcadio IV during an asthma attack. We learn when something Jose Arcadio's five divorcees in Rome, his corrupt had only been hinted at earlier, but now we see the extent of his depravity. He engages children in nightly orgies. His lascivious nature finds its penalty in the excesses of the partners, and after one wild party, the children drawn him to his tub. So that is another. So this is one of the funniest and the most absurd and scene in this novel. That is Jose Arcadio the Arcadio the Fifth incestual physical relationship, and he died by all the illegitimate children. A matured Amaranta Ursula returns to Macondo. That means he was sent to Brussels for study, returned to Macondo. She is married to an older Flemish, that is an island of Brazil, an region of Belgium. So she married a gentleman, Gaston, a madcap, an entrepreneur who owns a strange valley soapade. So the history of the Buendia family emerges as a labyrinth with the chaos of history in this final chapter. So you see the Buendia family who established this village Macondo, that family is in decline in every perspective. So they are like in labyrinth what to do, and the members, especially the two members, Amaranta Ursula and another Ariolina Babyliona, they are in a fix what to do. And Ariolina Babyliona is the last surviving members who is supposed to get the mystery of the Sanskrit manuscript. So in a geological brothel, Ariolina Babyliona meets Pilar Tarnisha, his great-great-grandmother, now an aged Hur, who mistake him for the Colonels and reveals the crushing dates of the youth's antecedents. So here, Aureliana Bibando meets his great who become a prostitute. Pilar Tarnisha, we realize, becomes aware of the competition of the final and temporal plot. Thus, she places Aureliano in touch with his origins and provides a mechanism for fulfilling the expectation generated in the first chapter section. So, naturally, Aureliana begins to try and decipher Marquez' manuscript in earnest. So, Aureliana Bulenio wants to get the decode information of Marquez' manuscripts. So his history becomes an obsession, revealed only by the visit to the bookstore of the wise old Calatonian, his meetings with the four friends whom he meets there, his visit to the black prostitute Nigromanta. His obsession with the learning assumes the energy of sexual passion, a vague of the powerful force. So Gaston gives the adulterous spear for the blessings, and they fulfill the ancient when their cards. Tragedy follows. Aureliana loses both the child and Armanta, and the fate of the child is especially horrible, but we find his end preordinance in the epigram of Melquiades. The first of the line is tired. Actually, the incidents, the fate of the child and the incidents indicates the epigraph. That is, the first line, the first of the line is tied to a tree, and the last is being eaten by ants. So that ants, so that line indicates the future of the child. At the last pages of the manuscript are about to be revealed. The single remaining room of the old Buendia house is filled with voices of the past. So that indicates the single, only Buendia family's room, only two members we see, that Aureliana Buenda and Ursula Armanta, these two living members of Buenda. So full of voices, and that is the history. We see the voices of past. So the future is very much dark here. And Melquiades' manuscript then assumes the dimension of a metaphor for the unity of time and place, just as Melquiades and Aureliano, as a writer, reader, translator, and marched. So Melquiades and Aureliano. So Melquiades is the writer, and Aureliano is the reader, and the other parts whom they are the translator. All three voices marched together and came into a single ghostly voice. It is, Makando is swept away in a storm. So the fantastic story ends in the moment when obliteration eradicates the town, Wendias, and the narrator. So the story in such a way that the Sanskrit manuscript represents that the Markanto village will be devastated or swept away by a storm, and everything, Buendia family, the town Makando, the narrator, everything will be succumbed by devastation and ruin. So in such a way, the story ends. So in this final stage, we see that Gabriel Garcia Marquez has ended the novel in a very dramatic flavor. So all the characters got their um, uh, supposed, uh, that is called poetic justice, that the bad characters and the other characters got their punishment. However, the Makanda village, the villagers and the workers, what did their, uh, what were their faults? The workers, why they were swept away? Why the narrator? Why the Buendia family? The leader, Arcadio the Fourth, who was one of the leader of the workers, all were swept away by the rain that is written in the manuscript supplied by Melquiades and the Sanskrit. So what was, so we see the poetic justice to many characters. That means the evil character will be punished, and naturally we see the male members and the corrupt characters of the Makando village, especially the Buendia families. They have been they have got their punishment. The 17 bastard children has been killed. The other Pilar Tanisha, Rebecca, all others. But what happened to the Ursula Buendia? Ursula is very laborious, but she had a very pathetic ending. And finally, the nucleus of Makando village, Makando's development, that is the worker and the worker leader, were suffered by the massacre done by American imperialism. So what happened to the nucleus of Makando's development, that is the worker. So the South American imperialistic power didn't admit the contribution of the working class people of the society, and also For this, all the people of Makando village were the sufferer of such kind of fantasy that all the villages been stripped away. So in such a way, the novel ends. Thank you very much for attending the